Hey everybody, it's Ken Compton with the Savvy Inspector, and today I've got Coach William Troutman from Certainty Home Inspections, and we're going to be talking about a topic that we're going to be sharing and visiting on in the workshop, and that is setting a vision for where you want your company to be in the future. So William, welcome to the call.
Hey, great to be here, Ken. Good topic.
I want to say, we mentioned this earlier when we were doing another video, that sometimes the planning process isn't very sexy. In other words, people just say, okay, Ken, what's the strategy that will get me the most business right now? And they ignore the planning process. So when you guys, before you came to the Savvy Inspector, did you guys plan?
No, I'm a living example of that mindset. I'm a home inspector. I just need to inspect homes. We need plan. What running a business? What's that all about?
Exactly. Now, William, one of the other things, how about, did you do any market research about the home inspection industry and the potential in your community before you launched your business?
I have to say yes to that. Not to the extent that I should have, but I was actually had a business remodeling, flipping homes. And I had been approached by a couple of real estate agents that I'd become acquainted with by doing that. And they had prompted me to, you should be a home inspector. And of course, I just kind of giggled at that and blew it off. But as the market became slower and it became more of a challenge to flip these homes, I took a second look. And one of the things that I did was I had talked to these agents that I was acquainted with, a handful of them. And I did ask them, is there really enough work out there? And then what is it that these inspectors are doing now that, you like or don't like? So I did have enough foresight, if you will, to do that little bit. Through that, I found out that there were a lot of things that the local inspectors were doing that really turned the agents off. So as I came into it, I kind of approached it with that mindset. And then, of course, it was pretty clear that there was enough business out there. Now, at that point, I was just looking at this as a part-time thing. Between flipping homes, maybe I do an inspection now and then. I had no idea that it could turn into what it has today.
Right. So when you joined the Savvy Inspector years and years ago, you probably weren't convinced that this vision a piece, in other words, where you want your business to be in 3 to 5 years, was really valid. How long did it take you before you really grasped that strategy and the light came on for you?
The first workshop is where that really, just the information that was gleaned from that was just phenomenal. And so Sherry and I, she attended that with me, and on our way back from Jasper, Georgia, we had a long discussion about, the potential that was there. And from that, actually on the way back from that, because we had already implemented a few things from the Savvy site and seen how well that was working, after we heard what we heard at the workshop, it was just a no-brainer to us that this could be a successful thing to get into. So we made the mental decision on the way back from that workshop to try to get a plan together and actually started looking for our first hire.
That's awesome. Now, one of the things that we've tried to make this very easy to develop where you want your business in 3 to 5 years, we ask you 10 questions. And the only thing we ask you is that you be honest with yourself. It's not what Ken wants for you or what William wants for you. It's what you want for yourself, isn't it?
It is. And you can't get where you're going if you don't know where that's at. So you have to think through that, see this as a business. Where do you want it to be? Do you want to at some point sell it? Do you at some point want to, just quit? What do you want to do? What kind of numbers do you want to do? How big do you want to be? What area do you want to serve? A lot needs to be thought through.
Right. And what products and services you want to sell? Do you want employees? Do you want an office? Or what's the lifestyle you glean from it? Do you want to work in it? Do you want to do inspections? I mean, those questions, if you answer those honestly, you'll really know where you want to go in 3 to 5 years, but it takes a few minutes to do it, doesn't it? And you got to really do some introspection.
You do. You've got to, search your heart for what it is that you're after. And, I'm sure this is another conversation that we'll have, but so many folks, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody, is the self-limitations that we put on ourselves, to be able to see the big picture where, am I really able to take this to a level where I'm at today? Because back then, if you told me I was going to do what I'm doing today, I'd have laughed at you.
Well, you did have some self-limiting beliefs, and remember we talked about that in the very beginning, because I believe all you have to do is say what you want. We'll figure out a way to achieve it, but that's a hard concept for a lot of people to grasp. And William, with your upbringing, that was hard for you to grasp, wasn't it?
Very, very hard. We've had the conversation. My upbringing was, if you weren't, breaking a sweat to make a living, then you weren't really working. So it was a really hard concept for me. Thank you, Ken. I'm past that.
A lot of people have self-limiting beliefs, and what happens is at the Savvy Inspector, as William and I talk to these coaching clients, one of the things that we work on is that. I mean, I hear somebody say, "Oh, I can't complete my inspection report on site," and I say, "How come?" And they'll say, "Well, I might make a mistake." And I said, "Well, how long have you been doing home inspections?" They said 13 years. And I said, "How many times have you corrected the report when you got home?" And they said, "Never." And I said, "So it seems to me what's holding you back is between your ears."
Exactly.
And they got that. And once they got that, then they said, "Okay, you know what? Now I believe I can do it." And they started trying it. And guess what happens? Now they produce a report on site. And when they go home, they have a life again. Okay.
Exactly.
So self-limiting beliefs can hold you back in every area of your life. And so I think by filling out the vision worksheet and really just wave the magic wand. If I could wave this magic wand and I could have anything I want, what would it be? Fill out those questions with that mindset. And guess what happens? Good things will happen.
Right. And for me, and I'm sure it's the way a lot of other people think that's hogwash. It's like, what do you mean? What do I want? Just put down what I want, and that's going to happen. Some people have a hard time swallowing that, and I was one of them. But look at us today.
That's exactly right. Well, let's talk about the vision that you had in the beginning is not necessarily the vision you had today for your business. So it's an important exercise to do each and every year.
It is. We are celebrating our 10th year this year. So yeah, my first vision worksheet and what we had on paper, of course, is different today. Why? Because we achieved those goals and that vision. So you always have to be looking out to that next step. So yeah, at first my vision was basically, of course, probably like anybody else that starts out, you want to be busy enough to make a living from this. Maybe it's a part-time thing for you now, and your vision is that 3 to 5 years from now you're going to have this as a successful business with maybe a couple of inspectors under you. Maybe that's what yours is. So whatever that is, that's what you got to think through, and don't be like me and limit yourself. Because my goal at first was, heck, if I could just get one a day, I could make a living doing this. So see beyond that. See beyond that. See the big picture. Where do you see it in 5 years? Where do you want it to be in 5 years? And then try to get that in writing. And once you do that, once you decide what you're after, then it's a lot easier to put things in place to make it happen.
That's right. We have a fairly new client. He joined us in 2015, and he's a one-man shop today, and he's very aggressive, a great guy. And one of the things he wrote in his vision, within 5 years, he wants $2 million a year in revenue. He said how many inspectors he wanted, what area he wanted it from. In other words, geographically, what area would he serve? He laid it all out. It was fabulous. You know what happens is, what if he only gets $1.8 million instead of $2? Where's the down to this?
Right. And that's the other part that was kind of hard for me too, is, you set those goals and what if I don't make it? Now I'm a failure. Well, no, you're not. Just because you didn't hit that 2 million that you're after, you still achieved all that you could have. If you just set yourself at $500,000, you probably hit that and celebrated and went on. But instead, because you had it at 2 million, you made it much closer to that mark. So again, we talk about this kind of stuff subconsciously and where you put your mind, and there's just so much truth to that I laughed at in the beginning.
Yeah, it's very true. In the law of attraction, William, I say it all the time, what you focus on most, you get more of. And when you look at our mastermind group members, is that not true? Do they not say that to me now?
It's so true. And we don't want to dwell on that, but, you early on had talked about having the vision statement, having your 3 to 5 year plan. And we even went into having a vision board. And I giggled at that too. I don't need a bunch of pictures on the wall to tell me where I'm going. But today our living room is our office for Sherry and I, and we've got one whole wall that is nothing but a vision tree.
That's right. And it's fantastic. And when I was up at Beth and I were up at William and Sherry's house doing some vacationing with them. And the fact of the matter was the vision tree was fabulous. But when you see where you want to end up, it reinforces that in your subconscious mind, and that's a very big thing. But so few home inspectors will take the time to complete the 10 questions to set the stage for where they want their business to be in 3 to 5 years. And what happens? They miss the boat. They miss the boat. They're on the treadmill year after year doing the same thing. The biggest mistake, I think, too, William, is saying, "Oh, I think I can only grow 12% this year." Really?
Yeah, and I'm guilty of that as well. I mean, I think it's just the way it is. So until you sit down, go through the actions there, answer the questions, get your act together, you will see a difference. But if you don't do that, you'll never know.
We're going to walk through all this at the workshop. We're going to spend quite a bit of time on it because I want you to wave the magic wand and say what you want. And then together, our team will help you get there. We'll get focused on it, and we'll talk about other things, how you can achieve that, tools that you can use to achieve it. Now, William, let's talk a little bit about when you set up the plan. What happened to your firm?
The ship really tightened up, and it's one thing to have this vision on paper that you're looking at yourself, but everybody that's involved in your business needs to know that vision, so they all know that we're working in that one direction. What happened for us, one of my first goals was, to get financially stable, because when I first came into this, we were on the brink of stepping off the edge financially. So one of my first goals and my vision statement was to, become financially comfortable. As time went on and we achieved that, those visions changed. And one of the goals within that vision was to have our house paid off. And about 3 months ago, we made that happen. So now what are we doing? Looking at that vision again. Now where do we go? What's the next big thing? So again, had we not had that in writing and known that those were the things that we were after, we'd just be running in circles all the time, doing the same thing every day we did yesterday, and not trying to achieve that vision.
That's right. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. Not only did you pay the house off, but this is the new house. This wasn't the house you lived in when you started with me.
That's very true. Yes.
It's the new house, and it's paid off.
That's correct.
The power of a vision. What is it I want? If I can wave the magic wand, what in the heck do I want?
Yeah. Prior to that, Ken, just to be honest about it, my mindset was I'm going to have a house payment until I die. I'm going to have car payments, whatever this is. I think a lot of people just assume that to live the lifestyle that you want requires you to go in debt to do that. So that was the mindset I had. But once we got this vision down and we started progressively moving in that direction, look, this could be, this might turn out to be more than we expected. And so, from that today, we are, I finance nothing. Everything's cash. All our vehicles are paid for. The business is debt free, just way beyond from day one what I could have ever imagined happening.
That's right. William and I were talking yesterday because William has a fleet of vehicles. Okay, so he's out. He's adding additional staff, and so he needs to buy additional vehicles. And he went out and bought vehicles cash. Okay, how powerful is that? And William isn't the only one that does it. Our other coaching clients that do vehicles as well have gotten themselves in a position to where they pay cash. They're debt free. Their business is debt free, and they're paying cash for vehicles and other major purchases. And you can too. But it started with saying, "This is where I want to be in my life."
Right. Just to add one more thing to that, last year we started with Steve Brewer. I'll throw his name out there, excellent CPA that took over most of our tax services and all that. Actually, does all of our finance stuff. And so, it's really cool. Last year, right before the tax season was going to hit, I get a call from him and he's like, you need to go out and spend some money to save yourself some taxes. So, what a great feeling to say, wow, I got to go out and buy new equipment for the guys or get ready for next year's go around for equipment or tools or whatever we need to do. So, instead of going out and having to borrow that money or figure out how I'm going to get those kind of things done, I'm being told to go spend my money.
That's awesome.
Total different concept. Yes.
Did certainly home inspections get a new boat?
No, but we're looking at them.
Because we're inspecting some docks at the lake.
There you go.
Well, you know what, William, here's the thing, and I just can't impress upon home inspectors enough on this point. Big corporations have a plan. They understand where the ship is going, and each employee in the firm understands where the company is going and how they fit into it to make the company go that way. So what happened in your firm when all of your employees now understand the vision of Certainty Home Inspections and how they fit into it? How does the business run?
On its own. I mean, my job at this point, I'm not involved in that day-to-day grind. It's my job to steer the rudder, if you will, make sure that that ship's always headed in the right direction and everybody's got, the same concept. So by sharing that and everybody knowing what direction we're heading in, Sherry and I are involved very, very little now on the day-to-day. I mean, I'm there to react to maybe a complaint or, just the heavy hitting things. And it's my job to see to it that, at one point I was doing all the marketing myself. Now we've got a marketing rep. So it's my job to make sure that she's doing her job to make it rain here in the firm. So that's where Sherry and I spend 90% of our brain power, if you will, is growing this business. And so, it's a great feeling to be able to be gone for a week or two and not even have to hear from the office or worry about what's going on, because everybody knows what that vision is and everybody knows what their job is to contribute to making that happen. As we grow, so do they. Our goal right now, everybody knows that the base of my employees, okay, so I'm talking about my lead inspector, Will, who is involved, Samantha, who runs our office. The next goal for us, our vision is that they step to that next level. So as we grow and we bring on more people, they take on more responsibilities and are better compensated for it as well. So everybody knows that in order for them to grow, the business has to grow successfully as well.
And you can just look at Kayla, who does your marketing. She understands what needs to happen, and she does it every day effectively. So effectively, you had to hold her up, hadn't you, William?
Yeah, she does a great job for us. And one of the tasks that I put on her was to get me in new offices and do presentations and what have you. And so she has done that very, very well. So well that I had to reel her back in and say, look, this is great. You're doing a bang up job, but please quit.
Yeah, I'm having to work too much.
So actually what we did, I just kind of refocused her to start working on that for the fall and winter seasons here and leave the summer alone, because there's several reasons for that. But one is just I'm too overwhelmed with it.
Right. Okay, so really what happens is, let's think this through. William, you were a one-man shop to begin with, and now you're a very large multi-inspector firm and well-run, and your company is hugely profitable. But one-man shops, maybe they're thinking, I don't really need this vision thing. What are you thinking?
I think you need to take the time, kick yourself in the butt, sit down, and work through this vision statement, because you're going to ask yourself a lot of hard questions, some maybe that you haven't considered. And even the ones that you think, that's not for me, answer that question, search your heart and soul and find out where you want to be. We talked about it on one of the last calls. A lot of the folks that I talked to about this, I don't need a vision statement. It's all right up here. Well, that's great. But until you get it on paper and think through it, there may be roadblocks to that you didn't realize that by getting it on paper and thinking through it, you can see. And then if you are going to involve other people, if you have aspirations to become more than just a single man shop, you've got to be able to share that vision with the others that are there to help you do that.
At the Savvy Inspector Workshop, we're going to teach this strategy. We're going to go over the questions and give you all the tools. Then you'll be able to download the form after the workshop's over and go right to work on it to get it. And we have great one-man shops that have no desire to be multi-inspector firms. They've embraced this concept and they've become so much more profitable. I get notes every day, just like you do, from clients who have achieved their dreams by using these tools, thanking us, telling us, I got a new hot tub. I took my whole family to Hawaii for a vacation, including my mom and dad and everybody else, because I did these things. It makes a difference.
Yeah, I've got one savvy member here in my local area, one-man shop. That's all he wants to be. Incredibly successful. He just bought himself a new Corvette, is my understanding. So
I got a little note about it.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. I just got I think I forwarded it on to you, but I just got an email from another member who had attended one of the workshops there in Jasper, and just sent me a really nice email about implementing the things that we had talked about and how successful that's been for him. He's making his first hire.
Super. Get signed up for the workshop. Links right here below this video, and try to catch that early bird special. We've got a great reputation video that our team will produce for you. $297 value will include it. Get 2 tickets to the workshop. You get 2 free videos. So William, anything else before we close on this?
I just, personally, from me to you guys out there that are considering it, the workshop is just such a wealth of information. Being able to not only get the information off the stage, but the social events afterward are just critical to build those relationships with these folks that are just so willing to share their stories and what they've done and things that did and didn't work for them. There's no sense in being out there reinventing the wheel, learning by your own mistakes when you've got such a wealth of information from all of these other savvy folks that are willing to share and save you those heartaches.
I will tell you, in 1997, when I started Southern Home Inspection Services, I would have loved to have had the savvy inspector, and I could have maybe moved forward even faster than I did.
Sure. Oh, I talk about that all the time. I've been my own worst enemy.
All right. For home inspectors that are watching this, I want to just say to you, whether you come to the workshop or not, we'd love to have you. The fact of the matter is, this is not some mental exercise waste of time. You need to understand where your business is going to be in 3 to 5 years. And we're going to talk about in another segment some SMART goals, how you achieve that vision once you get it laid out on paper. But you have to get it laid out on paper for this to be successful for you. So please, whether you come to the workshop or not, don't discount this.